Good morning, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're doing very well today, and don't you think it is past time that we play this beautiful deck? We are playing blue-red Prowess. Is it Prowess? Is it Blitz? Whatever you want to call it. That's what we're playing, and for those who don't know, there are a couple threats that make the blue splash viable these days relative to the red splash. Certainly viable, possibly the very best way to play the deck as a whole. In the past, before the printing of Sprite Dragon and Stormwing Entity, some people have tried Blue Splash Prowess. You get to play some funky cards like Opt, some sideboard cards that, in theory they can synergize well enough with the deck to incentivize a splash, but I personally have never bought into the Blue Splash. I think in order to deviate from the strength of Mono Red, you need very good proactive reasons to do so, and we certainly now have them with the printing, as mentioned, of Sprite Dragon and Stormwing Entity. So both of these cards synergize very, very well with our free spells. Therefore, not only do we obviously play the full complement of Manamorphose, which is already kind of the strongest card in the deck in a vacuum, right? We also are bringing cards like Gut Shot and Mutagenic Growth into the fold. Now, to me, these cards were not where you wanted to be prior to the inclusion of Dragon and Entity, but they were not unheard of. They were not beyond the pale. To me, they were just like viable cards that were not that well positioned. If we were in a very fast format, I think these cards would be great, Gut Shot and Growth, right? I think they'd be just fine. But we do have a slightly slower, definitely more interactive format, so personally, I have not considered these cards to be all that well positioned in a vacuum or in the context of the mono red deck, but alongside Sprite Dragon and Stormwing Entity, their upsides become vastly superior to what they would otherwise be, and they are fine cards alongside Swifty and Soul-Scar Mage as usual, right? But the upsides, these cards are basically enablers for Stormwing Entity, allowing it to come down on turn 2, and they're also, entities good alongside them once resolved and attacking, just like any other threat. And they also allow us to proactively play Sprite Dragon on curve, more or less guaranteeing that we'll be able to grow it, get a lot of value, maybe help protect it from some removal, things like that. So that's kind of how the deck all comes together. We also, as mentioned, do play Opt as well. Some card selection in this deck is nice. It's a good one mono way to churn through the deck, kind of replacing Crash Through. Crash Through, an extremely powerful card in the mono red version, but not as necessary here because of a lot of our threats have natural evasion, the blue ones have flying, right? And so Opt, instead of Crash Through, allows us to, benefit from the card selection, which is definitely relevant, especially, well, I was going to say especially in the early turns, but frankly, especially in the late game, just to avoid flooding or to find the missing half of the combo, if you will. If we have some dinky burn spells but no threat, we can dig for a threat. If we have some prowess threats or otherwise threats that grow off burn but we don't have any burn, we dig for the latter. You understand, right? So very, very strong deck, I would say. It's put up good results. It's really fun to play, as all prowess variants are. The one thing that I'm a little leery of is only 3 light up the stage, but the lists that I'm modeling off of only played 3, and other lists only play 3 too, but some play 4. And my mid-range instincts tell me to play 4, but my mid-range instincts also tell me to cut a Mutagenic Growth, and I don't want to do that before I've given it a fair shake. I wish to maximize the power of our blue splash, so that's what we're doing. Land base is definitely a lot worse. We've got to play only 3 mountains and 2 steam vents, so our lava dart targets, our lava dart fuel for flashing it back, I should say, is a little harder to come by. Our mana's obviously more painful. Blood Moon, which is still in our sideboard, is not as much of a free roll. We, of course, can't really afford to play basic island, I would say, so we are soft to our own Blood Moons in a certain way. So these are some of the downsides relative to the mono-red version, but I'm excited to try the upsides. Lots of familiar faces in the sideboard. Flame Slash is a card I don't believe I've ever played on the channel before. It seems to be pretty well positioned now, and also, given the aforementioned painful mana base, it's not as free to splash Dismember. So I'm trying to stay in color here, trying to stay painless with this, kind of just removal spell to bring in. With my practice games, I played this exact 75 with one exception. I was on 3 Aether Gust. Card is strong, but 3 is a lot, especially in an aggressive deck like ours. So I pared it all the way down to 1, and I was going to either play 2 Flame Slash plus the 1, because I wasn't on any Flame Slash before, or what I ended up doing, which is adding the 4th Dragon's Claw, and also playing 1 Flame Slash. Those are, again, instead of 2 copies of Aether Gust. So Aether Gust remains, though, one interesting incentive to play blue, and I've been really liking these Spell Pierces when they come in, and you have them at the right time. They are about as good as it gets, and they also give the deck a different dimension that it never really had access to. So there you go, guys. That's about the long and the short of the Izzet Prowess deck that we are playing right now. Let's get into it. I hope we do well. I hope we have some fun, and I hope you'll stay with me for the duration of what should be a pretty fun league. Let's tab back over to the deck here. Anything else we did not say? Yeah, not really. Resolving Manamorphose can be a little bit trickier, I guess, with this deck, because you want to calculate, okay, what if I draw Stormwing Entity? I might want blue floating. That's also true for Opt. But obviously there are some situations where you've got a handful of red spells. You could otherwise use every mana, and if you floated one of them as blue, maybe you cannot. So I think this deck is a little bit harder to play than mono red, but I do look forward to giving it a spin right here. And here we go, round 1, game 1. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much to all Patreon supporters. This hand looks like a really solid keep to me. And thank you especially to Alex Cote. Hope I got your name correct, my friend, but Alex is our newest supporter. Alex is a confidant. Welcome to the fold, my friend. Thank you very much. Let's get it going. Opponent shocking in a stomping ground. I suspect Gruul Midrange. Draw of Lightning Bolt is pretty fine. It just kind of... We're just kind of doing a normal Prowess thing, nothing too spicy yet. But there is nothing wrong with that, especially on the plane of game 1. Alright, opponent's just passing. I think. Hesitation, but yes, passing. Okay. Wild Slash. Alright, well... Here we go, here we go. Gonna have a big turn. Now here's an example of what I was just talking about. So if we float blue here, and then draw another 1-mana burn spell, we cannot cast that last 1-mana burn spell. We'll have to hold one in hand. But if we don't float blue, well, what could really punish us? Not much. I guess with Fiery Islet up, we don't need to float blue. Kind of feels like the opponent might be slow rolling a burn spell, which would definitely be a mistake if you ask me. Maybe not. Okay, another Manamorphose seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. If only they hadn't had Bolt for our Soul-Scar, right? They would be very dead this turn, but sadly they did. All right. So we've got 8 points of burn in hand. Yeah, opponents seems pretty dead. Note that we almost didn't have lethal because we almost didn't have a mountain to sack to Lava Dart. We would have left the opponent at 1. Now, granted, we would have still been in a pretty fine spot, but that is, again, that's another thing I mentioned in the deck tech, so definitely something to watch out for. It can be easy to see a bunch of lands and assume that you'll, for example, have the ability to flash back multiple Lava Darts. Not always the case in this build. So how do we side against Gruul? Let's think about it for a minute here. Well, there's a lot going on here. The only clear play to me is Aether Gust. I think you can make arguments for a lot of other things. Abrade kills a lot. There's an off chance they play like a Dragon's Claw. I've seen Trinisphere out of these decks. There's probably enough incentive to play at least a couple of Abrade, but it can also be a little underwhelming when they're playing like Seasoned Pyromancer and Glorybringer and stuff like that. It's pretty bad. Flame Slash does kill Glorybringer 1-for-1, but I don't think we want to play that game. Spell Pierce is the hardest one to evaluate because oftentimes they will play just a lot of creatures, right? And the Pierce will be a little bit bad. That said, I think it's still probably good enough. But do we have 5 cards we want to side out? Everything seems more or less fine. I might trim an Entity and like a Gut Shot. If I trim an Entity, I generally tend to trim a free spell. Gut Shot does kill Arbor Elf, but we've got a lot of other ways to do that. It's really tough, really, really tough unclear sideboarding. I'm just going to trim a little bit around the edges, I guess. One Opt. Maybe only play one Abrade here on the draw. I'm also going to cut a Mutagenic Growth. All of the cards we're cutting seem pretty viable. You know what, actually? I'm going to leave in a Gut Shot. I'm going to cut a Lava Dart. Simply because they might still be on a land destruction plan, game 2, even on the play. I don't really think they're likely to. If I had to guess, I would say they probably side out their pillages, but if they don't have enough to do here and or they think the upside is high enough, maybe, just maybe, they leave those in. Another totally fine keep here. Okay, turn 1 Arbor Elf. We are almost certainly pressed into killing that. Let's hope we draw a Lava Dart, Gut Shot, Wild Slash, something besides Lightning Bolt, so we don't have to spend the big spell on the little dork, but I'll be happy enough to do it if we don't have any other alternatives. Had we drawn the Gut Shot, we could have also gone Swifty. Gut Shot the dork, swing for 2, would have been really nice, but let's hope that's enough to really slow them down. Cindervines, okay. Mountain. Okay, a couple lands off the top, not very good for us at all. So we are going to be in big trouble if they have Anger of the Gods, but given our hand, we have no choice but to play into it. Because we're already kind of running out of steam. Okay, opponent on a... Oh, okay, it looked like they were on a 2-lander, but nope. They've just got a couple 1-mana plays to make. Fair enough. Man. Man, oh man. What have we drawn? 3 lands straight off the top. Not good, given our keep. I'm going to begin by cracking Islet. See if we can get a Gut Shot. Opt, huh? I mean, as bad as it is, we have to, I think, keep pointing the bolts at Arbor Elf. So not really drawing the type of progression that we need to contend with their hand yet. But, you know, it's possible they only have 2 cards left in hand. You know, it's possible they have 4 and 5 drops that get stuck in hand. It's possible they have some more kind of air. You know, maybe a 3rd Arbor Elf or something would not be the worst at this stage of the game. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. These are kind of my 2 new decks facing off. I've been, you know, interested in Izzet Prowess for a while, finally getting around to playing it for you here on the channel. And I've also been picking up Gruul lately. We did a fun Gruul Discord league, and I played some leagues off camera with the deck. I plan to play some more. Unfortunately, opponent does have Bloodbraid Elf, but into Utopia Sprawl, I guess not the worst. At this point, our hope is now that they flood. And they're hanging back on D. Okay, Stormwing Entity, a great draw. This is going to let us opt, and then cast Entity. So to that end, we need a 2nd blue. We should also fetch first just to thin out a little bit before our opt, I guess. And if we draw something better than Entity, Lava Dart. Yeah, I guess we kind of top any burn at this point. I'm going to draw it, but I'm just going to, unfortunately, not attack Jam Entity. Get to scry 2 lands to the bottom. That's really, really good. That's really good. Yeah, we're going to hang back here. Chandra's a beating. I should not really be F6 through the turns, but I'm suffering a little bit with allergies, so I'm taking that chance to have a higher quality of life, right? You know, just by muting and F6ing. So, Soul-Scar off the top. This is fine. How much do we care about killing Bloodbraid Elf versus pressuring their life total? I'm not reading them for Bolt, so I'm just going to take care of their whole board. But if they have Bolt, they could blow us out here. It'd be pretty nuts if they did, honestly. What if they do? We've already shrunk the Bloodbraid Elf. I guess the safe thing to do is just to dart Chandra, right? Cindervines is definitely an interesting one from the side against us. I don't believe we on our Gruul League sided it in when we were against Prowess. It's pretty good on curve, but, you know, I'd be thrilled, for example, if they top-decked another one right now. Instead, they top-deck Klothys. Very, very scary. Also, Cindervines helps make Klothys live. So, okay, 1, 2, 3 in the graveyard. We're not there yet. Looked like an exciting draw. If we hadn't had to flashback Lava Dart, it might have been. As it is, Klothys has come at the perfect time to stymie us here. If we had just finished off the Bloodbraid Elf, again, we would have been vulnerable to them having bolts, and then losing to Chandra sticking around, or at least falling behind significantly, right? But had we taken that risk, the opponent would be at a couple higher points of life, but Klothys would not be active, and we'd be making up that lost ground right now. So, if I had to guess, I'd assume we're going to fall a little bit short here. Seems like they've just kind of been one step ahead of us the whole way. If they start eating our non-creature spells out of the graveyard here, we will be in big trouble, and indeed they do. And their last card in hand is Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. Okay, scary Gruul progression for sure. We're going to stick in there in case we draw some Manamorphose running and get this Bedlam Reveler down, but I don't believe we are going to get there, my friends. Don't believe we are at all. There's a land. Okay. Good enough for me. We're chump blocking to stay alive, and even then we might just be dead. Okay. Yep, we just kind of didn't have enough gas throughout the entirety of the match. We flooded a fair amount. They had, like, not a nut draw, but a very, very solid one. Okay, so I don't feel I need more Abrades. Having seen their sideboarding, we didn't see any artifacts. We did see Cinder Vines. If they're bringing in Cinder Vines and presumably whatever life gain they have, they probably don't have, like, Trinisphere or whatever else in there that we might have an outside chance of worrying about. Probably not Dragon's Claw as well. We can still just overwhelm that card. We do still have one Abrade as a flex removal, so is there anything else we want to do differently? I kind of like how we're configured. Again, trimming around the edges I think is what makes sense in this matchup. We don't have really any actively bad cards. As always, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts on the archetype. Lots of open questions. Do we need the full 4 Stormwing Entity? I've seen a couple people playing 3. Do we want the 4th Sprite Dragon? I have seen that as well. What is the proper light up the stage count, 3 or 4? Lots of questions, right? Ooh, double Bedlam Reveler hand. Man. If we had a burn spell in place of Rev, I would snap keep. The hand does a lot of what we like, but I'm leaning toward mulling. It is already kind of a mull with the Revs. Man, it really sucks to open on 2 when you only play 2, right? Yeah, we don't have any burn to kill turn 1 elf. We don't have a turn 1 threat of our own. Dragon is good, but we don't have any free spells with it. I think it's a mull. I really like seeing my 1 of Aether Gust, but I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this hand's really good. Gonna just keep it in bottom of mountain. Maybe this time I'll not F6 through my turns. Here in game 3. But we hope by some miracle that the opponent kept a really slow hand, right? One that's maybe got some stuff they want to see, but just goes tap land pass. Because then we get to go Manamorphose into Entity, hit you for 2, scry 2, and then see a bunch of new cards, untap, take it from there. If they present an Arbor Elf, we might be priced into Wild Slashing it. We'll just have to see what we draw. If they present Utopia Sprawl, that's scary in its own right, because we have no choice but to just play out and hope they don't have, like, turn 2 Anger or something like that. Okay, sure enough. Utopia Sprawl it is. Okay. Another big chain of Manamorphose. I kind of hope to, like... We'll just see. Aether Gust could be good. You know, we could just finish this whole chain by Aether Gusting their Utopia Sprawl. It's not the worst. If we had drawn a free spell or a third land, I might be inclined to do that. As it is, I think we're supposed to just jam Entity, be proactive, really hope to fade Anger, but they didn't show it to us. A lot of decks don't play it. Double Soul-Scar Mage, what do we do here? Maybe top one, bottom one. Definitely bottoming at least one. We kind of need to hit a third land. We can do a lot with just 2 lands still, though, so I will top this one. Let us rebuild if, God forbid, they do have that Anger. Alright, what's it going to be, OP? Really good turn 2 for us either way. Another Utopia Sprawl. With 1 red floating, no bolt. Oh, they have the bolt. They've never not had the bolt this match. Feels bad. If only we could bounce this land, right? Guess I'm going to main phase out, see where that gets us here. Another Soul-Scar. I'm going to bottom that. Okay, play out this one, say go. Would have been interesting to hit a blue land there and hold up Aether Gust. Pretty underwhelming stuff in some ways, but if they didn't have that bolt there, totally different ball game, right? Oh, they have the Anger now. Jeez. Okay. Nothing much we can do about it, is there? And we've bottomed 2 Soul-Scar Mages. Oof! Oof! Alright. Heater off the top. I guess Sprite Dragon would be really good. Either that or we want ways to just keep, like... I don't know. Yeah, Sprite Dragon would be a really good proactive play. Another Entity would be good. We can just gut shot and then Entity. Obviously, we like to try to hold up those things to get damage across. Prowess triggers or to beat all this 3 damage removal, but... Man, maybe we should have registered and played Pillage. Opponent on this 1-lander, it's looking so juicy. Sorry about the delays, my friends. OP might be double queuing. It's not unknown by any means. Alright, so. Light up the stage, a good draw. I'm going to take the optimistic play and pay the life to gut shot so that I can have as much mana as possible to work with. Bedlam Reveler waiting in the wings along with another gut shot. Still no other land though, which is real annoying. We'll have a Reveler next turn, but I would love to have seen a land here so we could hold up Aether Gust, then untap and play Rev. Feels pretty bad, honestly, but... let's see what the opponent's got. Okay, 4th land being shocked in, we'll go down to 10. We're definitely just dumping Wild Slash at the most opportune target before the end of this turn. Scavenging Ooze with red floating. Got it. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah. We can do it all here. We're going to slash views, and if they eat a spell, we just dump Gutshot, and we have enough spells to cast the Rev. If they eat our entity, we kill it with Gutshot. Still a pretty good play from the opponent. Okay. Here comes the Rev, Lava Dart. If we were to draw a non-land, it might as well have been that, right? And we draw 2 lands and Manamorphose off Rev, so not trying to complain too much, but we've drawn things in a lot of the wrong order. If we had had a 3rd land at any point over those last few turns, we would have been able to do a whole lot more, specifically with Aether Gust. And now, like, despite having landed a Rev, having had to pitch 2 spells and then only drawing 1 off the fresh 3, we're depressingly low on gas. However, we have dug through a lot of cards. We do still have a Lava Dart in the yard. We have Manamorphose to kick things off. Opponent's only play appears to be Klothys, which is kind of slow at this stage, but definitely good if we fail, so let's not fail. Heaters off the top. Heaters off the top. Oh my god, another land. Please, please. Do we fetch first to thin a little bit? Probably not. Just in case we, like, light up into lands, right? We can still have a really good turn, but we need this Manamorphose to be good. Swifty. Meh. It's okay. If we had just one other burn spell in hand, it'd be great, right? All right, 6, 7, 8, 9, put them to 2. I guess we fire off the dart here, right? They'll go to 4 with Klothys, and then it's kind of anybody's game, but they have a ton of cards in hand, so I'm still feeling a little behind here. But we've got some really good draws, too. Man, can you imagine if we were sitting on, like, Aether Gust or Spell Pierce right now? Again, if we've just drawn things in the slightly different order. OP fetching. This will put them to 1. But presumably they've got like maybe an Abrade or something here. They could have Weather the Storm. Oh no. They have it. Oh god. Okay, well. Good times, right? Feels so bad. Feels so bad. Now their Klothys is likely to be unbeatable. Again, it was slow there if they didn't have anything crazy, but they had something crazy. Yeah. I mean, what did OP? They had Bolt into Anger, into Skooz, which soaked up some damage, soaked up 2 spells and gained a life. And then their turn 5 was Klothys, hold up, Weather the Storm. Seems really good. Seems really good. So we need them to start dirtling a little bit. If they have another kind of like impactful X for 1 here, like Chandra or Glorybringer, I think we're pretty much done for. But if they, if they don't have anything too crazy, we've just got to hit one of our good draws. The second Bedlam Reveler, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spells still in the yard. Second Rev will be our best draw for the foreseeable future. Really sorry about the OP taking a long time here, guys. I know the clock's not terribly different, but, I'm narrating, I'm deciding, and I think they're just kind of double queuing, right? 5 drop. I guess it's the Glorybringer, right? Yep. Yep. And we're back, my friends. Our poor opponent, while in a very commanding position, disconnected. So, what I first thought was double queuing appears to have been genuine connectivity issues. So my condolences. That always really sucks. We'll keep this hand for real. Definitely a sweet one. Yeah, you hate to see that. But, if they were double queuing and then had connectivity issues, well, that changes things maybe a little bit. But either way, we were gifted a win there. I don't think we were more than single-digit percentages to win out from there. And we did, due to timing out. So, hey, we'll take it. I earned it, though, because I had to sit there and wait, right? Oh, we're against Tron. Okay. What kind of Tron is unclear. I guess either way, we should just fire off a Wild Slash here. Start filling up the graveyard, start getting them dead. But this is going to be a Stormwing Entity turn. Oh, another Sprite Dragon is definitely interesting. So I guess one option is just Dragon, hit you, untap, get the Dragon huge with a Manamorphose chain, which ends with deploying the entity. I'm not experienced enough with the deck to know which one is better on average. It's actually a really interesting call. I think I'm going to go with the Dragon, but I'm not sure. Seems like Manamorphose is kind of accomplishing both things for us. If we do this, it's going to seriously pump the Dragon and enable Entity. Never mind, opponent has Dismember. Okay. I guess it's Eldrazi Tron. Most likely. Maze Mind Tome, yep. E-Tron confirmed. Alright, I'm just going to play one entity here. Unfortunately, a couple lands off the top. We could use one, but really not the second, so we'll certainly bottom the third. Topping Opt is mostly good. I'm just a little bit worried about them ripping Chalice for turn, but if they had it, they certainly would have played it, right? So I think it's a fine one to top. Okay. Mazemind Tome, a little annoying. Simply because if they manage to extend the game, it'll be free life gain after having done a lot of other good things for them. They've bottomed twice, so getting some good value off of it. Eldrazi Temple, so no Tron. Could be Thought-Knot Seer time. If they don't have Thought-Knot, then I don't know, then we have to expect, I guess, Smasher and I don't know, maybe another removal spell. That'd be pretty rough, though. They do have another removal spell. But we can try to beat it. We did. Cool. Okay. I think we need to make red-blue here in case we draw another blue spell. Okay, Fiery Islet. Let's opt. Gut Shot, huh? Do we just take, like, any burn at this point? I mean, we could find better draws, but this is kind of a deal, too. I guess it's good enough. Now let's crack Islet. I was going to say, try to draw lethal, but we don't have it. Hey, at least the gut shot's free. Okay, opponent's at 4, and we've got a 3/3 flyer on board. So, unfortunately, we've hit a few too many lands for our own good, but we're still in a commanding position. First, they need to find an answer right now. Is this Thought-Knot? Please be Thought-Knot. Haha! We got nothing, my friend, we got nothing. But hopefully we're going to have something off the top. Got him. Feels so good. Okay. Nice Game 1 victory against Eldrazi Tron. Let's take a moment to figure out how to side here. So I'm thinking we'd like to side away from 1-drops when possible, and we have a lot of relatively low-impact 1-drops in this matchup. I guess there is some consideration for Spell Pierce, but I really don't know if we want it, compared to just, like, committing to Abrades and Blood Moons and not overboarding. So there's a similar incentive for Flame Slash, but in a different way. They're both kind of narrow, but they're efficient. They'll trade up a lot of the time. So some non-obvious sideboarding with this deck for sure. I really feel like I kind of just want to cut most of these low-impact free spells, but that might be incorrect. But let's assume we do so. Do we want to play like a cheeky one of Spell Pierce, or is like playing more 1-drops into a potential Chalice just too bad? I'll play one. We'll play one on the draw, see how it goes. This will be a fact-finding mission as much as anything else. Final cut. We could cut an entity because we've cut so many free spells. Maybe that's correct. I really don't know. I'm not confident that this is perfect siding, but okay, we have some early aggression, and we have a turn 3 Blood Moon. This is going to be a keep. If they have to take some mulligans here, I'll feel pretty great. They don't. Well, we're still going to keep, but it's pretty scary. It means they've got most likely either turn 3 Tron, or turn 2 Chalice, or simply like a pile of really decent stuff, like maybe turn 2 Reshape or turn 3 Thought Knot, something like this. I'm just going to fire my Gut Shot now for fear of Chalice. Get that extra point with Prowess in there, and then if they have Chalice, we are very soft to it. If they don't, we're going to have another good turn 2. But yeah, looks like they have it, right? Sadly. Alright, draw Braid, draw Braid. We drew a Braid. Haha. You love to see it. Now, opponent says, great choice of mountains. Thanks much. Rob Alexander is my fave. OP says they love them back in school. I can definitely relate to that. They're a very nostalgic piece. Our opponent is truly a foe of refined tastes. Looks like a glacier in the Alps where I grew up. Whoa. Epic. The Alps are amazing. They're like the coolest region on planet Earth. Okay, opponent has contorted our threat and played a Scavenger Ground, so now it is our time to Blood Moon them out of the game, hopefully. And we've just got a bunch of 1-drops in hand that are all mono red. We're going to turn off a lot of our own spells this way, too. But, oh, OP with Ratchet Bomb. Dang, that's what they needed, right? That's what they need to beat us. So I guess the line here is Swifty put enough pressure down to force them to maybe a Ratchet Bomb on 1, and then rebuild with Soul-Scar Mage. I think we're just shoving all in here, including with this Lava Dart right now. Putting them to 6 is pretty good. And again, hopefully they're not doing much. You know, if they also have a Chalice or something, that'd be really bad. We have a Braid. Cool. That should help, right? OP just taking it. Very disciplined. Or are they? They're going to take it. Okay. Yeah, growing up in the Alps, I'm a little jealous, OP, not gonna lie. That is amazing. What a beautiful, beautiful region of this earth. So yeah, you know, at this point the Abrade is fine, but it's actually kind of wish we just had Burn, kind of wish we had something a little more proactive. An opponent leaves Ratchet Bomb on 1. Super interesting. And now we're not afraid of Chalice, of course. That's the good news, right? Is that what they have here? It is. Okay. Well, I gotta say, we're pretty lucky to draw these Abrades. Okay, so now I think we do Abrade the Chalice. This will likely prompt opponent into hitting the Ratchet Bomb, but that then allows us to deploy Soul-Scar Mage, right? And it is still a little sketchy, but our draws have been kind and the opponent's mooned. So, not the third Chalice. The third Chalice, okay. Well, oh my god, we draw Manamorphose. Okay, seems really good. Let's make blue just in case. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, OP. We are just cruising with, like, the perfect draws. Stormwing Entity. Wow. This is what it's all about. I guess we can top the dart. Topping the Abrade? Guys, this is what a nut draw looks like under these circumstances. Wow. What an impressive showing from our deck here. Of course, opponent is just dead on board, but... Oh, there's a Wastes. Okay. Maybe not, but... What is Wastes unlocking for them that allows them to block a flyer? I'm going to say GG, all the best to our opponent. Very nice, and very nice to get a clean, powerful 2-0 against Eldrazi Tron. Wow. Wow. Could we have drawn it up much better than that? I really don't think so. Some absolutely amazing, amazing draws off the top for us there. In the face of multiple Chalices. Obviously, Blood Moon stopping the opponent in their tracks. It took them a while to hit the 5th land, so it's possible that they wouldn't have, like, had an amazing amount of things to do anyway, but certainly they would have had more to do, right? Feels good. Alright, what will round 3 yield for us? Well, it will yield a 1 die roll. I'll take that. And this hand's really nice. It's a really nice low curve. Get him dead hand. One that allows us to control the board if the opponent plays small creatures. One that allows us to cast some higher curve stuff if we hit it, and to do a little card selecting with Opt. It is all very, very acceptable. Uh-oh. Gruul? Gruul again. Lightning Bolt again. A familiar sight. Soul-Scar Mage. We will take it. Drawing a threat of any kind was pretty good there, and that's one of the better ones, just because Stormwing was not castable this turn. Do we want to opt for selection now, or do we want to get every point of prowess out of the EOP? I think I'm going to opt for selection. Could set up a really good turn 3 for us. They're holding another bolt, really? Oh, stomp. Okay. Fair enough, I guess. Bottoming that land is still pretty good there. Sprite Dragon also pretty good. I guess we should fetch and shock here so they don't pillage us off our only blue. So the threats just keep coming. And in order to get a lot of damage across this turn and also play around another stomp, we're just going to main phase all this stuff. Okay, yep. Drawing the parade of threats against the opponent's, like, turn 1 spot removal, turn 2 spot removal progression is pretty good. Hopefully they don't have yet another bolt. If they don't, we are... Oh, jeez, really? Really? Oh, man. So punishing because, oh man, and we would have been just off to the races with this. It's punishing because they don't play, they're not like a Jund deck, right? They probably play 6 pieces of removal. But we can't really complain because we keep drawing threats. So, you know, the opponent has not had the luxury of acceleration. Okay, if they go for another stomp, we can beat that. Are they really just drawing all of their removal? Surely not the third bolt. Okay, it's a stomp. So we get to beat them with a bolt, put them to 5. Maybe if I mean, opting was high risk, high reward, I guess. I wonder if we had not opted, if we'd just untapped, how different the game would be, but we would have drawn a land. Okay, there's Klothys. Alright, come on, let's... Oh, man. I was gonna say, let's just rip lethal. We didn't. We ripped another threat. It's not the worst, you know, if we draw another burn spell, we can still get there, or, you know, the usual Manamorphose off the top is really desirable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 non-creature spells. So yeah, if they take one of them, Reveler is now uncastable if it comes off the top. Klothys is, you know, I love resolving her when I'm on Gruul, obviously, but it's such a frustrating card to play against, right? OP on that Bone Crusher. Okay. Oh no, Bedlam Reveler, 1 turn too late. Just 1 turn too late. Oof. Big oof. Yep. That's a bad one. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Okay, so now I don't really know what does it. They will pillage a land, which doesn't seem like it matters much, but it just makes Reveler that much less castable. Okay, here come the big giants. No attack. Okay, gut shot. Oh, again, all this stuff's coming 1 turn too late. If we had the gut shot last turn, we can use it and then cast the Rev. But now we're very, very far away. So, we're just gonna say go. The usual chain of Manamorphose is probably about all that saves us there. Really going to be tough to lose game 1, I think, in this matchup. I think it's winnable, 2 post-side games, but I think game 1 is the by far most winnable, right? As you saw in round 1, our sideboarding plan is like a little uncertain. I don't think we get that much better. Alright, so I almost don't want to think all that much about this, but I kind of have to. I guess, like, no matter what, we're priced into gut-shotting one of them. Might technically be better to go to blocks first, but, you know, if they have stuff, we're just dead anyway. And we kind of have to gut-shot here to shrink it to the point where we can trade. But, yeah. One step behind the opponent here. Probably supposed to trade here and then go to 1 and try to miraculously kill them. It leaves us dead to Klothys, but we certainly do not win by chumping. Land. Okay, gut shot, opt. They got us good. They got us real good. All right. Well, let's try to leverage some of these cards. Maybe this Gruul opponent will time out as well. You never know. You never know. All right. Maybe only like 1 Spell Pierce on the play is optimal. 1 Abrade, 1 Spell Pierce. Let's sideboard a little more minimally. Because again, I think our main deck cards are all pretty much fine. They're pretty much all justifiable. Trim a single gut shot, I guess, and run it back. Ooh, oh man. I don't think we can keep this. If they present a turn 1 Arbor Elf, we can Mutagenic Growth it just to get our entity down, which is a pretty bad play. We're nowhere near Reveler. We don't have much else early at all. So, yeah, it's a mulligan. Okay, this one's a lot more interesting. We'll keep it. You know, our progressions have been pretty good, but the opponents have kept some 7s like every time, I think. Some pretty decent 7s too, I might add. We could use a little help, but you know what? We're going to win this game 2 on the play by virtue of our own hand, and then on the draw, they're going to mull to Oblivion, right? That's the play? That's the plan? Okay, Utopia Sprawl. So we cannot interact with their ramp shy of maybe Manamorphosing into Aether Gust. So with that in mind, and also with our opt-in hand, we're going to go red-blue. Ooh, so awkward. Awkward light up. Well, let's opt and try to find a red 1-drop. Manamorphose. It's not a red 1-drop, so it's going to make this turn worse, but with Reveler coming and with a Swifty on board, we've got to just top it, right? I do wonder if I have at times sided, and maybe in this game as an example, side a little bit too aggressively away from the free spells. Again, that's my mid-range mentality more than anything else. And I think against this mid-range deck, it makes a lot of sense. But if we had had a gut shot in hand, we could have lit up. Geez, another stomp. These are coming at some brutal times for us. what was I saying? Yeah, we could have gut-shotted the opponent, got more damage across, a lot more, and also lit up main. Sadly, it's not the case. So let's begin with a Manamorphose here. I think double red is correct, because if we draw burn, we get to go burn, light up, and then still cast Soul-Scar. Or opt, like, if, whatever, you know, whatever with Fiery Islet, if we find one off of light up. No burn, so sadly, I think we just pay full retail for light up stage. So, as things stand, next turn we can just go land Rev. If they... But that's not great, because then we're not using our spells all that well. So Mutagenic Growth is a really awkward find in most ways there, because we're not going to have a hasty threat. But if we draw Swifty or Sprite Dragon off the top for turn, we can then have a really good turn without using Rev and have Rev in the back pocket. But of course, OP's just got Scoos at the perfect time. Feels super bad. Feels super bad. But, I mean, it's still dying to Wild Slash plus something, but we don't have the something. It was like Wild Slash plus anything and it's dead. Oh boy, okay, so... really awkward decision. Like, we can just get the Rev down, but then we're effectively pitching 4 cards. We're pitching 2 threats and these 2 spells. But Mutagenic Growth is pretty dead no matter what. Unless we go on the Swifty plan. Yeah, I guess we do have to just kind of toss some threats out there. So if opponent has a bolt in hand, then that would be the nut. Don't think we're really going to give them credit for it. Okay, then I think we're actually probably just supposed to shrink the ooze so it's not that relevant on board. Their life total is still high enough that I don't necessarily value the shot to the face. Some strange decisions here. Again, opponent just kind of having the right things at the right times to really complicate our life, but I don't think, based on our sequencing, they would necessarily read us for a Bedlam Reveler. So it's probable that they do other things this turn besides gobble up our graveyard with Scoos, and indeed they do. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's bad news for us. They're probably going to put a little ooze fuel in the yard. They're going to make a wide board, but we have 6 spells in the yard. So even if they play land, eat 2 spells, we can still slam Rev. Just no relic. No land and no relic. Into immediate crack. Okay, Smuggler's Copter. Interesting. And OP will eat a Magus of the Moon that they looted away. Also interesting to know that is still in post side. It does make some sense. It's a warm body and they can lock us off blue, but dies to most things in our deck, right? Okay, Wooded Foothills. Only a good draw in that we can play it out before the big guy comes down. So let's fetch to Finn. Slam the Rev. Hope for some really good stuff here. Light up Stormwing Entity. Not really. I mean, fine cards broadly, but very non-Bowie. Very non-Bowie indeed, right now. So, I guess we're just supposed to main phase a light up here. If we draw a free spell, our attacks become pretty good. If we don't, well, at least we have seen a lot of cards this turn. Hope that they cannot have a sick turn next turn. Before we get to untap and leverage some of this stuff. Dragon and Spell Pierce. Some more awkward things to be sure. And attacking without any free spell backup is not very good because they can just like block with Spyro and Elemental, eat something with the Skoos. It's not good. Skoos has been, even though they haven't had ideal circumstances for it, it's lined up very well against us. So now their play is Bloodbraid Elf into Lightning Bolt. Okay. Pretty bad, but I could think of worse things. Feels pretty bad to have lit up into a Pierce, right? But Gut Shot. Okay. Why couldn't it be any spell that kills an ooze, right? That would be a perfectly acceptable turn if we could just go Sprite Dragon, Wild Slash, or Bolt the Ooze, play the Entity, get in with our stuff, at least with Rev, right? But since we cannot, do we want to get a little risky with a Fiery Islet Crack? If it finds us like another Gut Shot, that would be the big reward. Because we'd still have 4 mana to work with after having fetched. The other option is to hold the Gut Shot. No, we can't hold the Gut Shot because then we can't play Entity. Alright. We're cracking the Islet, hoping to get lucky. Also maybe willing to hold off on Entity. Oh, we draw another Entity, really? Oh my goodness. Oh man. Pretty well punished, I would say. Yeah, this is an example of why I have trimmed one in this matchup. Huh. I mean, do we just kill a token here? I'm not going to attack with Rev. Oops. Okay, we're looking for like only non-creature spells, so I'm gonna bottom Swifty and land. Yeah, a disturbing lack of those, right? We're still, like, in it, we're still doing things, but given their progression, I think a lot of our normal, like, groups of cards off the top, because we have churned through so many, would have us in a far better position. The Ooze would definitely be dead under most normal circumstances by now. Remember that it was shrunk to a 1/1, and we just couldn't finish it off. Like, we have enough beef coming off the top that we're still, as I say, in it. Wow, this big attack, huh? Well, they might have another Stomp or a Bolts. But we can't just take the hit as a whole. It's also probably fine in their eyes to just get a little damage across and then grow the Ooze. I think we definitely block the token. Might as well block it with Swifty rather than Stormwing. I think I don't want to block Spyro. So then let's just block Bloodbraid, I guess, with Rev, but it would hurt to lose it. But again, I don't think we can take 5 there. If they have Anger of the Gods, then so be it. It's a card we definitely can no longer play around. They're then eating and then shocking in second main. One more creature to eat. That'd be their Bloodbraid Elf. This is an interesting game, for sure. Oh no, the anger. The anger. Wow. Wow, unbelievable. Okay. We're just kind of getting punished at every turn this time around, and yeah, whatever. I mean, that is what it is. We'll top Wild Slash. I think we're topping any burn at this stage. We're dead to... Okay, let's just top both of those, right? Try to engineer a kill on them, or failing that, a kill on the Ooze. But the Ooze is just big enough to be a huge issue. So there's nothing else left for them to eat. So if they go for like a main phase Bolts to try to clear the way, then... Bloodbraid Elf, yeah, okay. Into Seasoned Pyromancer, holy moly. Being on the receiving end of this deck when it goes off is just not fun. It's just really rough. But... I guess we're supposed to try to kill them on the crackback. So let's say we block Bloodbraid Elf, Wild Slash the opponent down to 9. We have to assume they have nothing. No Weather the Storm, no Bolt, no Stomp. Then we untap, we Islet into the Dart. We've drawn Bolts. They're dead on the crackback. So... Well, they're going to... they've got 2 life to gain. I don't know if they're dead on the crackback, but this is clearly our play anyway, right? We're just dead now if they go for it. But again, jumping is not how we win this game. We know what we're drawing off the top. Okay, I think making them see that there is fine. Again, we draw Lightning Bolt off the top and we just lose to their wide board. So, good game. Yeah, just got smushed by a Gruul as it tends to do when it doesn't fail. When it doesn't beat itself, it tends to beat the opponent. That's been my experience with and against it, and it is really fun to play, but pretty frustrating to face for that reason. Nevertheless, like, objectively speaking, that was a game with a lot of interesting decision points, and it was like, fair magic, but, yeah. I think Mono Red Prowess would have fared better there. Our entities were clunky, and there's just no way that Mono Red Prowess does not kill that ooze, like, with more shocks at our disposal. And, to be fair, some of the cards that would be in Mono Red but are not here are Lava Spikes as well, so maybe that's not completely true. But, having drawn the Gut Shot when the ooze was at a 2/2 and they were tapped out, that was the real killer, right? That was the real feel bad. Hope you guys are having fun here on my Izzet Prowess debut. As I mentioned, but might edit out because of all the dead air in round 1, I know I mentioned it sometime in round 1. I would love to hear your thoughts on this archetype, about the nuances in terms of how to build it, cards you like, cards you don't like. Love to hear your feedback there. Definitely a pretty fun and exciting way to play the deck, and I do suspect it is a little stronger overall than Mono Red, but certainly not strictly so. This hand is gotta be a mulligan, right? Like, if we draw the if turn 1 bolt is what we need, and if the second land comes right off the top and we get to have everything our own way, but even then it's a little too threat dense. I think we have to send it back. Okay, this is fine. We should bottom either the third land or maybe Mutagenic Growth. I'm going to bottom the third land, right? Right. I had a feeling we would be in some kind of a mirror. I don't know why, but I did. Okay, I'm just going to take my kill. Well, the killing is good. Okay, Mono Red Prowess, I guess, is my read. Lava Dart. Awkward. Awkward, awkward. Not only because it would force us to flash back to kill that thing, but because we don't even have the land to flash back. So, one option here is to Manamorphose and dig for Lightning Bolt. Then we get to go Swifty Bolt you and be very happy. Another option is to just play Swifty, say go, or possibly opting before we connect, or possibly Mutagenic Growthing before we connect, and then trying to have a really good next turn. We're just trying to commit to racing them that way. Like, can our hand outrace some of their hands? Yeah, I think it probably could. So I don't feel like I strictly have to dig for removal right now is the point. And operating off Fiery Islet is obviously a little sketchy, right? But let's go for this. Maybe the opponent decides to block here as well, and maybe we can win that fight with Mutagenic Growth's help. They do. Okay. So I want to begin with a non-Mutagenic Growth spell. And while Lava Dart's a little bit safer, I think Opt is better. I think we're just going to have to assume our Growth is going to beat whatever they're going to do, right? So let's Opt. They're going to Bolt. And we're going to scry that land to the bottom. So because they had Bolt and not a shock, we did still get beat. Whatever. I mean, I think that was the signal our hand was sending, but I'm definitely going to be receptive to the idea that that was bad. That maybe we should have Maybe we should have just Manamorphose to dig, right? Blister Coil, weird. Alright, now we're gonna Manamorphose. If nothing else, like maybe for a third land. We're gonna try to clear out their whole board here. Let's begin just by slashing here. Well, I guess we technically should shock this in first. So we can beat everything they're up to. Weird is a weird one, no pun intended. I hope they play another weird and don't have much else, right? That we can beat. They put Abash into their hand. Fair enough. We have found another Fiery Islet. We have found a gut shot. We are drawing the bad half of the deck for the mirror, that is for sure. I don't even know how much we can call this Prowess. This might be like the M. Hayashi aggro build. Firebolt. Alright. I guess we're going to Lava Dart Gut Shot in response. Hope this is enough to kill it. But we're just 2-for-1ing ourselves all over the place to compete with their 1-drops. And we're very far behind on the life total, and they have the big top end coming down. So I think we're probably losing unless we rip, unless this resolves without any other plays from OP and we rip Rev off the top. They have Stomp, so now we are priced into flashing this back. But yeah, it's horrible for us. We draw Swifty, not what we need. We're down to 7. I think they have us beat. A couple big old top end guys coming off the top, and we have just done our first point of damage to their life total. Yeah. This seems like probably a bad matchup, simply because our Lava Darts and Gut Shots are so bad. Okay, I mean, we'll cast it, but we fully expect to be dead in the near future. Again, kind of a wrong order issue as much as anything else. I might not have made the right call by picking a fight with Soul-Scar. I felt confident enough, making them have a bolt to go for it with our Mutagenic Growth. But look at opponent just going crazy over there. Okay, we see Bomat Courier. That's good information. I'm going to concede to this, though. Absolutely, completely, and utterly destroyed. So the good news is we have Dragon's Claws. They're not as good here as they are against Burn, but they're still pretty darn good. I will consider playing all removal spells here. Aether Gust is also, I guess, a consideration because they have all the red stuff. A lot of their spells will, it will be maybe even tempo negative for us to Aether Gust them, but it still seems okay. We probably have a lot of bad cards to side out, frankly. And yeah, the other thing about that play, picking the fight with Soul-Scar Mage, they are like a go-wide deck. They don't have that many, as many ways to interact at that spot as a true mono-red Prowess deck would, right? Anyway. Yeah, I don't think we want anything else, so let's figure out what our worst up to 9 cards are. Maybe not siding out all 9, but certainly siding heavily here. Okay, so I like all of those cards out. We're cutting a lot of one damage stuff. I think I'm supposed to leave Mutagenic Growth in here, but it's possible just because it's painful that those could be our final two cuts, and we could be really removal heavy. Maybe that's correct. Maybe we like doing that. I'll give it a spin. Our blue threats are probably about as bad as they get here, which is partially why I trimmed one entity, simply because we've cut, so many low curve spells. This is a really reasonable keep. The bad thing, though, is the painful mana. If this had a pair of Spirebluff Canals, this would be a great keep. Yeah, I guess this is the M. Hayashi mono-red aggro build. Okay, sadly they get to shock our Soul-Scar here on turn 1. Sadly we draw another painful land, but we do get to Manamorphose into Entity on turn 2, which is always really nice. Yeah, I'm going to do that over Sprite Dragon, although that's an intriguing draw too. Unlike in the Eldrazi Tron matchup, because they have a lot more things that can kill a 1/1 dragon than can kill a 3/3 entity. Let's bottom a land and top a Manamorphose. So hope they don't have Bolt here, but even if they do, we at least got value off of this, unlike our first play. Soul-Scar into Bolt would be a beating, but obviously that's what they have. Man, our opponents have been drawn crazy this league. We have 2 at times. Don't get it wrong, we have 2 at times, but yeah. A little rough. So it's going to be Dragon into removal. I guess using the Flame Slash, because it's sorcery speed now, makes the most sense. We've already done 5 damage to ourselves with our lands. Okay, OP with a Swifty. Into Stomp. They have never not had the perfect removal at the perfect time. Not a ton we can do about this one, my friends. It's still, I really like the opponent's deck. It's really cool, but we are getting crushed pretty badly by it, you have to say. We'll do the optimistic float blue play. Yeah, I'm gonna be mana efficient and crack one of these islets right now. Okay, sure. Why not? We'll take another 2, shock and a Soul-Scar Mage. Say go. So we are trading resources. It's fine. Again, the big mirror breaker is we've drawn only painful lands. And they're a mono-colored deck, so their lands are, by definition, not painful. So there's some pretty cool mountains. Opponent with a go-wide turn. Us with a Spirebluff Canal off the top. Grr. Okay. A Stormwing Entity off the top. Pretty bad. There's no good play here, right? Because we bolt the Bone Crusher. We kind of have to stay alive. But the Bomat Courier's the refuel. Their curve out, again, has just been spectacular. Now at this stage, we could use one of our dinky, Lava Dart style cards, but sadly it's not to be. So I guess we just say go here. Feels bad. I don't know what we're going to do about Obash. And they're curving right up to it. And they have the Lightning Bolt. Bruh. Yeah, again, nothing we can do about these curve outs. I do think the matchup's probably bad, though, to be fair. Like, even a less nutty curve out from the opponent, we're still going to be really put to the test in this matchup, as far as I can tell. This is another one where the blue splash feels bad compared to how mono red would feel. Again, just drawing some non-Bowie stuff here. Light up the stage with a Stormwing in hand has happened a couple times now in the league. We've seen what the deck can do when we're getting like all the right stuff together, right? We've had a sweet turn 3 kill. We've drawn nuttily against Eldrazi Tron, but too many non-Bowie situations by far. Bomat Courier showing us the beats for 2. Spirebluff Canal off the top. Sure. So, we're probably pretty much dead no matter what we do, but, yeah, I mean, Spirebluff couldn't be more awkward here. So, one option is to slash the Bomat, play Entity, lose our Swifty, play a tap land, and then be forced into chump blocking Obosh. Opponent will see 3 new cards. I suppose that's the line, but we are definitely not going to win with it. Alrighty. Abrade and Dragon's Claw. We're dead with either one, because we have to chump block Obosh this turn, so we need something that can maybe somehow beat him next turn, so I'm supposed to probably bottom both, right? I don't know. We're dead. We're just dead. In fact, we're unlikely to get another turn here. Okay. Completely crushed. What are you going to do? Feels pretty bad, but again, their deck's cool. But yeah, if you look at the way our blue cards line up against their deck, I would say all of our blue cards are suboptimal compared to just being on painless red mana with a very high density of shocks and also a higher density of Bedlam Reveler I think is important, because Bedlam Reveler is like our version of Obosh in that matchup, where on this deck, like, we can play a really interesting tempo game, and we can play like a more efficient game, right? But when all of their cards are that efficient, and when some of ours are not, especially game 1, I think that's less impactful than having a Reveler top end. Just like, kill everything that moves, play a Rev. That would be our path to victory in this matchup. But, you know, our draws definitely did not help us there. So after a really good start to the league, we are unfortunately back down to 2-2, playing for the cashed league, playing for the positive results, hoping for a better matchup than the ones we've seen. Opponent says good luck. We'll say good luck, have fun, and I don't think we're probably supposed to keep a 5-lander. We have also mulliganed much more than our opponents as well. Yeah, I'm going to mulligan. This is another good 6, though. If this was my 7, I'd be so thrilled. There's no obvious card to bottom here. It's probably supposed to be a Lightning Bolt, as unusual as that is. It's the only redundant piece of the hand. Everything all works really well together without it. We just hope we don't need too early. Concealed Courtyard Thoughtseize. Yikes. If they take the bolt and then go turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, we're going to be really punished. Instead, they take our threat. And we draw another one, so that's good. Interesting. So they left our bolt even though they know all about this card. Or maybe this was a top deck. And they go get Batterskull again, even though they know we have Bolt. Okay, well, Manamorphose into Entity coming right up. Gutshot seems like it could be really good. Start of a really good thing next turn. Okay. We don't want the fourth land. We'll bottom that. Do we want Bedlam Reveler? I mean, we cannot cast it right away, but it's probably just so good in the matchup we're supposed to top it. So we're going to draw it for turn next turn, and then we're going to light up into some other things. So yeah, I think with that in mind, we're supposed to take it. If we were going to light up into it, I might bottom it. Alright, cool. Resolving Scries in a deck like this is definitely very, very interesting. Probably more skill testing than anything Mono Red Prowess has to offer once you get the hang of the deck. And I would say possibly more skill testing than scrying in like the normal decks where you see scry effects, like in Combo or even Control. I think resolving a scry here is going to be less obvious on average. Are they going to field us? Okay. That makes sense. It takes us off blue as far as they know. It begins to tax our basics, which are few and far between. And it is... Giver, sure. It is going to screw up our top deck, but we top deck a Rev anyway. Curse of the top deck, right? Okay, so why don't we begin with a free gut shot into light up the stage. I'm going to be sad if we draw another gut shot, right? And then we can't kill Giver, but we need to do the light up thing. It's going to be a big hit from Entity this turn. Oh, 2 lands, man. 2 lands, really? Really? Okay, well. Only 4 things in the yard. So we're definitely not going to crack Islet this turn. Unless maybe they Thought Seize us, but whatever. Let's bank on them not having a Thought Seize, right? Inquisition. You can have that. That's just fine. That's totally fine. Okay. Whew. Uh-oh. Swamp? Don't Thought Seize us. Sword of Fire and Ice. Dang, that's scary. That's so scary. Oh my god. Oh no. Just the natty sword, huh? Guess that explains why they got Batterskull. They probably started with that in hand. Okay, they'll attack. We've drawn Lava Dart. So if we play Rev... Well, okay, here's what we can do, right? We can Lava Dart to get the 5th spell in the yard. Then we can play the Rev. And then we can cash in a mountain to finish off Giver, which I think we definitely have to do. Lava Dart, a pretty good draw in that regard. Just want to make sure I'm doing this all correctly. I think we are. Nope, wrong order. There we go. All right, a pretty cool line, you have to say. And now Hopefully we have enough juice in hand to just kill them with flying. Like, the worst would be if they went like Lingering Souls into Equip. No, they just play Batterskull. Okay, cool. So let's just kill them in the air. Oh yeah, they're dead. Oh yeah, they're very, very dead with that lightning bolt off the top. We can do this whatever way we want. Okay, that was kind of a narrow escape in some ways, because Sword of Fire and Ice was the, kind of Sword of Damocles hanging over our head there, but we did get there. Winning game one there is obviously really nice. I want my Abrades for sure here. I don't know if we want anything else. Against any non-red deck, you could at least consider Blood Moon, but they're two-color, they're going to have their basics. Flame Slash is probably fine. Don't think we want Spell Pierce in this matchup. They play too many creatures that we would rather answer, and also they can play through Stoneforge Mystic, so we can't even pierce the equipment necessarily. Finally, they probably play cards like Lingering Souls, which are really bad value trades with a card like Pierce, so I'm not going to play it. I will play these 4 cards if I can fit them in, Flame Slash being the one I'm least excited about. And I guess against what's probably a Path and Push deck, we're supposed to cut Mutagenic Growth. And Gut Shot also seems pretty bad. We can, to the point where we can trim at least 1, maybe 2. Is the second Gut Shot better than anything else? I'm not really seeing it. Bit of a slower deck from the opponent, so we don't necessarily have as much pressure to go turn 2 Entity or turn 2 Sprite Dragon with a free spell. Opponent says GG. Good game, well played. And opponent will keep 7. It's a pretty medium hand. That is for sure. Mulling in this matchup's pretty bad, though. I'm going to keep it and hope that they don't have... Like, it does go Lava Dart into Light Up on turn 2, which is pretty awesome. I was going to say, I hope they don't have turn 1 Giver, but they do. Dang. Okay. That's pretty bad, because now we kind of need 2 removal spells stat, and we only have 1, and it's really bad, because we need to flashback for it. If they have Stoneforge here, they have Dark Confidant. Okay. Sure. Attack? Attack with Giver? Attack with Giver? No. Well, the turn 1 Giver is still a huge thorn in our side. Wild Slash. Okay, I guess the responsible thing to do here is to just kill their stuff. Then next turn we can go Manamorphose into Entity. We'll have to find a different window for Light Up the Stage. We're also running low on removal spells for the purpose of killing a future SFM, but this has got to be the play, right? Okay, there we go, and it's still definitely anyone's game. OP with an Inquisition, that's a good spot for it. So they probably take Manamorphose here to prevent the entity, but and they do. But Light Up the Stage is a 2-for-1. There's definitely some incentive for that. Let's hope the opponent does not have another discard spell. Or a Stoneforge Mystic. Would be a bad spot for either for us. Thoughtseize, dang. Okay. They take Entity, still leaving us the Light Up. We've drawn Abrade. I'm just going to shock in and Light Up. There's no need to get too techy here with like Flashback Lava Dart. We'll keep that gas around for later, including for draws like this, where we have Sprite Dragon into Manamorphose lined up for next turn with the Flashback of Lava Dart around if we need it. It's a pretty good Light Up. What's opponent got now? Maybe just something that dies to Abrade, that would be just fine. They're going to field us, okay. Two cards left in hand and no other plays, so they're flooded, I guess. They might have Batterskull as well. We do have to fetch our last basic here, which is pretty annoying, but that's going to be the play, and we're pretty cold to another Field of Ruin. I think we should make blue here with Manamorphose in case we are lucky enough to hit an entity off this. No, but we'll hit a Swifty, which I'll take. Not going to flashback Lava Dart just yet. So if they go land Batterskull, we'll just Abrade the thing and keep slugging away. Okay, they go Stoneforge, huh? Gonna go get Sword of Fire and Ice. Winds of Abandon. Exiling our dragon. I really hate getting our basics taxed out like this. Frustrates me just a bit. All right, Entity. We definitely have to find a way to play it, so I guess we're going to attack. After they don't assign a block, we'll Lava Dart. And then we're still holding up Abrade. But I guess we kind of have to main phase this, actually. Otherwise, if we do that mid-combat, yeah, that's not going to end well. So, all right. Lava Dart you. At least we have our Abrade, right? Sprite Dragon, Bedlam Reveler, okay. So, Dragon, if they have another Field of Ruin, runs the risk of being stranded in hand. Is otherwise, like, just kind of unnecessary, I think, because we already have a lot of threats. No spells left to use besides Abrade. Bedlam Reveler, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once we cast Abrade, that's 5, so we can cast him next turn. Some things could go wrong, but I think we're supposed to probably top them anyway. Bottom that, top that. Okay, hard cast the sword, then equip it. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, so we can let them attack. Right? And then I've never had an Abrade at this point. And we get to eat the Stoneforge, feels pretty good. Now I get to untap and slam the big Bedlam Reveler, feels pretty good. Nothing else to do this turn, but we're still getting in for 4. And plenty to do next turn. Sword of Fire and Ice is their scariest card. Batterskull would still be a little bit scary, but it's probable that we can just kill them in the air with these 3 cards in hand. Oh, Brutality is definitely scary there. But they're out of ideas, and they are actually just dead anyway, no matter what they take here, right? Yep. GG's well played. Very polite opponent here, Liliana. Oh, where are we? Liliana of the Vess. Come on. GG's well played. We gotta return the goodwill, right? Okay, guys, so that was a pretty successful Izzet Prowess League, I guess. 3-2 is fine. I am more like a normal 4-1 player on Mono Red Prowess, but certainly not always. And, you know, a positive result is a positive result. I think it was also successful in that we saw some real upsides and some real downsides to the Blue Splash, and the deck's very powerful. The one thing that we didn't see were any really good use cases for this card, for Spell Pierce. This is like my favorite blue sideboard card, at least. Obviously, the Sprite Dragons and Stormwing Entities are why you splash blue, but in some of my warm-up games, I have had wins on the back of Spell Pierce that would otherwise not be possible. It gives the deck a different dimension. We didn't see that here today. We saw, like, some situations where we were suffering a bit from our splash against the red aggro deck. That was very, very apparent. I think it was apparent maybe to a lesser degree when we dropped round 3 as well against Gruul. You know, I think overall against Gruul, the blue splash is fine, but the way our draw lined up that game was definitely worse than the average, I think, mono red prowess draw. So certainly be warned that the splash is far from a strict upgrade, in my estimation, both not only on the basis of this league, but also on the basis of my test games and just my analysis of the list before I even picked it up. That said, it's still very strong. I suspect probably stronger than mono red by a little bit. There's lots of really interesting ways to play the deck, though. There's a little bit of a white splash gaining steam, gaining momentum, and white gives you Path to Exile, Core Firewalker, some cards that you would, again, otherwise not be able to include, and there has been, ever since Lurrus was printed, the black-red, the Rakdos Prowess version, which I need to play at some point, but it's a little too Jundy for me. And don't get me wrong, like, the BGX archetype is my favorite, but I'm thinking because I already play a lot of Jund, a lot of Rock, whatever else, why play the Prowess version of that? You know, when I register Prowess, I want to do something a little different, right? So I think we saw the full gamut here. I think 3-2 is about a fair result considering our matchups. I don't think we had any, like, spectacular matchups, did we? We played Gruul twice, which seems a little tough. We played black-white Stoneforge, so we played Deadguy Ale. I think that's actually a tough matchup. We did 2-0 them. We did have some really strong progressions, but they're a deck with Batterskull, Sword of Fire and Ice, a lot of interaction. Cards like Giver of Runes can be a problem. I would not say that's a favorable matchup, personally. And we played Eldrazi Tron, which against Mono Red Prowess is actively bad. I think blue gets better, but still one that I don't want to see. And we also played Mono Red Aggro, which seems really bad when we're on blue. So I think we had arguably no favorable matchups, still came out 3-2. Still had some wide-ranging variants as well. Hey, I'll take it, guys. I'll take it. So anyway, and hey, let's not forget that we were given a win in round 1. So we can't forget that either. In any case, though, that's our league. That is our result. I hope you enjoyed it. I plan to play this deck more, and I definitely plan to, continue trying to refine the build. I don't know if we want the full 4 entity. I really don't. I have wondered if we want the 4th dragon above it. Now, in this league, entity was definitely better than dragon. Our dragons, they just kind of died a lot. We never really ran away with a game with them, but believe me, you can. And it's just less conditional, so I have wondered in the course of my testing if we do want number 4 of this blue card over number 4 of that blue card, right? And then there's the around the edges stuff, like what is the optimal split of Gut Shot versus Mutagenic Growth, and how many of those do we play, and do we play them to the point where they eat into our light up the stage count? There's probably an argument for playing no shock effects whatsoever. But if we do play one, I am adamant that it should be Wild Slash. Didn't come up here, but neither would Burst Lightning's kicker cost have come up at all. And I think on blue it has to be an instant. We're holding up Opt, sometimes we're holding up Spell Pierce. Gotta be able to hold up an instant shock at the same time. So lots to figure out. As always, the sideboard could use some tweaking as the meta evolves, but I do really like our sideboard here. Abrade was once again a complete MVP in the league, especially in round 2. Was very, very good there in the final round as well. So yeah, exciting deck to have at my disposal. And if you want to see more of it, please do let me know. Hope you enjoyed this league, my friends. And I would like to thank you for watching. Thank you to all Patreon supporters, and thank you as well to Alex Cote, our newest patron, a confidant, and I believe a soon-to-be Donation League sponsor. The first thing he did when he signed up for Patreon is ask for a donation league and how to go about getting it. So we might be seeing more, or hearing more at least, from Alex very soon. But in the meantime, thank you, my friend, for joining us on Patreon, and thank you to everybody else doing so. Good luck in your games out there, my friends. Let me know what you think again about this archetype, and I will talk to you soon. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.